My first recollection of rail travel was literally from under my parents' feet. During my early childhood, every summer, we would escape from the blistering heat of Delhi, where my father worked for the government, to the house of my maternal grandfather at Calcutta. We invariably travelled by the so-called deluxe vestibuled express, the predecessor to today's Purva Express, in the second-class air-conditioned chair car. I loved the faint whiff of perfume that came out of the AC vents. In an era of incandescent bulb lights, the row of white tube lights running right along the central aisle of the coach fascinated me beyond measure. In her younger days, my grandmother had several friends in the railway community and had seen the luxurious saloon cars used by the officers and the spacious bungalows which they occupied. My grandmother felt that the railways was the right institution for me to work, where the mission of public service and a good life came together. Her encouragement increased my resolve. 3rd March 1969 was an epoch-making day in the history of rail transportation in India. The first commercial run of the iconic Rajdhani Express was flagged off from Howrah station for New Delhi. For once, the Indian Railways started competing with air travel. The icing on top of Rajdhani cake was its famous hospitality and cuisine, a benchmark which revolutionized on-board railway services for all times to come. Father, standing at the carriage door, explained to me that the red building was the loco shed where railway engines were housed and repaired. Soon, one by one, 4 smoking steam locomotives came out of the shed towards our train. They reminded me of old Mother Hubbard, short, stout and sweet. On the dot of time, the guard's whistle blew, the engines hooted, and our train started to move, creaking and jerking in the direction of the hills. Once we cleared the town, the railway alignment joined the hill-cart road beside it, on way to Darjeeling.
अगला स्टेशन मुंबई छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज टर्मिनस। कृपया गाड़ी से उतरते समय गाड़ी के पायदान और प्लेटफॉर्म के बीच के अंतर पर ध्यान दें।
Once coffee was over, the GM pointed to the file of papers lying in front of Thali. "What brings you to Bombay, my young friend?" he asked. "Sir, I have come over to discuss about some discrepancies in the revised budget estimates sent by your railway to the railway board." "But who revised the budget? Don't teach me basics, Talwar. We know all that. I only want to know from you, who revised this railway's budget?" As the Tusker regiment crossed the railway tracks, a roar of applause emanated from the train, and the children let out shrieks of delight. At the command of Ram Bharose, the Tuskers got to work, deftly pushing the carriage from the loop line onto the main line behind the train. With the expert guidance of Kesh Bahadur's flag, gently as the coach touched the train, Kesh Bahadur fastened the chain and the brake pipe. Satisfied, the guard blew the whistle. They were now ready to leave. Once the train gathered speed, Rakesh, an avid cricket fan, asked, "So John, how's that?" Bursting into laughter, Emma and John together exclaimed, Well, Rakesh, we have just witnessed the wonder that is India. Jai Hind! I am sure you would want to know what chanced upon the young lad whose grandmother wanted him to join and serve the Indian Railways. Or where could you have railway carriages being towed by the Tusker Regiment? Or even how bewildering it was for the excited child to fondly enjoy the luxury of the coveted vestibuled express. And wait, how the Queen of the Hills romantically unfolded in the fascinating journey of an utterly rail-teenaged fan. Treasures unveiled, unsung, poignant recounts dotted with exquisite hand sketches and portrayed by spontaneous essaying of prose, and much, much more. One page would urge you effortlessly to glide on to the next. How? Just pick up Train to Darjeeling and Other Railway Tales by Sanjoy Mookerjee, published by M.K. Bagchi Towards Freedom, printed by EPAC Business Solutions. So why wait? Rush to pick up your copy of Train to Darjeeling and Other Railway Tales.